Monday, August 27th, 2018, 7:02 p.m. Opening prayer, Reverend Steve Costello, Faith United Methodist. Welcome.
Let us pray. God, what a privilege and joy it is to be a citizen in North Canton, where so many people care so deeply about this community, as evidenced tonight by all who are present, those who serve in different offices, and those just from the community who are here because they care. We know, Lord, that whenever 2 or 3 are gathered, you are in their midst. And we also confess that whenever 2 or 3 are gathered, there's often conflict because we all have different values and views and things that we care about. But we know, Lord, that above all, you call us to be a community that demonstrates the kind of love that you show us through your Son, Jesus Christ. And so we pray, Lord, that all that happens tonight will reflect that kind of love and care, and that the outcomes that are decided upon will further the mission of community interests in this community of North Canton. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Serrata.
Here.
Foltz.
Here.
Fontaine.
Here.
Kiesling. Here. Peters.
Here.
Revolt.
Here.
And Waring.
Here.
7 present, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. For your consideration, a motion and a second to approve as presented. Council meeting minutes, July 23rd, 2018. Financial reports, July 2018. Mayor's Court receipts, June 2018.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes carried by unanimous voice vote of 7.
All right, thank you very much. At this time, if you wish to address council, please step forward, state your name and address.
Chuck Osborne, 307 Fairview Street, Southeast, North Canton, Ohio. In this evening's agenda for the Special Committee of the Whole meeting to be discussed on the Ordinance, Rules, and Claims Committee is an ordinance to approve and adopt replacement pages to the city's codified ordinances. I would like to ask that City Council provide much better oversight to this legislation and to the actions of its council clerk than it has in the past. 2 years ago, on September 26, 2016, Council undertook its annual codification of laws with the passage of Ordinance 63, 2016. Due to a grave error on the part of the Council clerk, a proposed ordinance that had been tabled by City Council became codified into law. I discovered the clerk's error 6 months later, early last year in February of 2017. I am talking about proposed ordinance number 6, 2016, which had been tabled on its first reading earlier in the year at a February 8th, 2016 council meeting. I'm sure this body knows that all legislation enacted into law is advertised by title only in the legal notice section of the classifieds in the repository. This advertisement in the newspaper is at no small expense. Advertising legislation that has not even been passed by City Council is an utter waste of tax dollars. On March 4, 2016, ordinance number 6, 2016, appeared in the legal notice section of the repository classifieds. It was identified as tabled. Unfortunately, codification of law requires more than advertising in the local newspaper. It requires that the council clerk certify to a publishing company on an annual basis after council commences the codification process, which is taking place now. The publisher then publishes the ordinance so that it can be inserted into bound volumes that contain all the city's codified laws. The publisher also digitizes the codified laws, allowing municipalities to post the laws online on the internet. For the city of North Canton, the W.H. Drain Company codifies the laws for the city. The annual submissions of ordinances for codification to the drain company requires certification by the council clerk, along with documentation of when a particular ordinance was passed by city council. In regards to ordinance number 6, 2016, tabled by council on February 8, 2016, North Canton's clerk submitted to the drain company that the legislation had been passed on January 26, 2016. North Canton City Council did not even have a meeting on that date. I provided this discovery to now council member at large Dale Revolt early last year, who informed Mayor Held, and the error was quietly remedied. Unneeded advertising in the repository, along with intervention by the drain company to correct the clerk's error, resulted once again in the wasteful expenditure of tax dollars to correct. I believe that this city council should closely read the annual legislation that initiates the codification of the laws of the city, so this does not occur again. Lastly, I would like to point out that the minutes of council meetings and legislation are not being printed on archival paper, which has occurred since the inception of New Berlin. The pages of the meeting minutes are no longer being numbered for security purposes, and the minutes are no longer being placed in the minute books as has been done since 1906, when the city was a village called New Berlin. The law requires that minutes of city council meetings be held as permanent records in perpetuity. Proper archival procedures need to be resumed. As elected representatives of the citizens of North Canton, you should re-engage yourselves with the responsibilities of your elected office. Costly mistakes could be reduced or eliminated, and procedures more closely followed if members of council were more attentive and observant of work that is accomplished in their name and on their behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuck. Anyone else wishing to address council?
Sue Platt, 801 Briar. I'm going to say something positive. I want to thank you, or thank whoever put the signage, the blinking lights, in front of St. Paul's in the Y. Thank you, thank you. I always thought that I was going to die going to church on the way, crossing the street. And actually, on Sunday, somebody actually stopped for me. So thank you very much. I feel much safer.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue.
Very good. Also for the high school, too.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, we will move to reports. Member Fonte.
It was a nice couple weeks off, and I hope everybody got a chance to get down to the Main Street Festival. And you know, it's really a good time to get some ice cream around town and check out the Starbucks and some of the exciting things happening. We finally have a yard in across the street, so hopefully we'll have more progress in the near future. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Member Ware.
When we were off, I was able to have a meeting with Eastwoods, and they have a neighborhood association, and so I went and spoke to them just about different things that were going on in the city. But the neat thing about that, they had just had their tennis courts resurfaced, and there's basketball courts that are right next to it, so they have all new fencing, and then the basketball court fencing, you know, didn't look as nice. And so one of the suggestions from the neighborhood was like, hey, can you do anything about that? There was a tree with an issue and some different things. And so it was just nice to get a lot of that feedback and kind of be with them and just know different things and hear their feedback, not even just about their area, but about the whole city. And most of it was very complimentary, and they think what's going on was great, and they love the Main Street things. And we've had a lot going on with East Hill, and then all the paving and stuff. But it was just nice. And then when I think I called Rob the next day and got some answers for them and gave them feedback, and it was just a really good kind of round table and good to have that. So those are great. So I guess I'm saying if people wanted me to come, or any of us, I think we're all always willing to go to those neighborhood associations and get that feedback that really you need. So it was really good. That's it.
Thank you. Member Keesley.
The only feedback I've gotten is how awesome it is to have all these roads paved. Annoying at times, but it's awesome. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah. All right. Member Revolt. reports. All right, we're on a roll. Director of Finance.
I'm going to break the streak. I'll give you a few updates on things as we've been gone. Filed the 2019 alternative tax budget for the city with the county auditor. That just starts our budget process for the year legally by asking the county to levy property tax on our behalf next year. We also set the budget schedule for our 2019 budget, which, talking with Finance Chair, President Council, we've set the tentative date for that special committee meeting to be October 29th. So if anybody in the audience is dying to come see the budget, it'll be near Halloween, so it'll be spooky. We did the mid-year budget review. There was only one significant item that was kind of out of line so far, and we have that on the committee agenda, which will follow this meeting. The audit for 2017 will be released tomorrow by the State Auditor's Office. We got notified of that today, and that will be out on their website tomorrow that you can look up. And then finally, we've been working on utility billing software upgrade out at the water counter. That software that those ladies use to bill our 9,000 plus customers hasn't been upgraded in about 15 years. So obviously technologies have advanced in that time. We've looked at 3 different software choices. We've seen demos, looked at pricing, and we have made our selection, and we're working through that process. We've also upgraded our online bill pay recently to improve our credit card processing and our online options. That is up for utilities, and through some feedback from some of our residents, both phone calls and online, we've kind of worked through a few bugs in that system, which has been great. We appreciate that feedback to get all the features that customers need. Next, the developers are working on the building department, so hopefully that will be up within the next 2 weeks for online payments to that department. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would request that agenda meeting notices under reports be amended at some point in the future to include a report from the Deputy Director of Administration and Development. As far as items that I have, I would like to bring you to your attention that a letter from the independent energy consultants concerning the electric aggregation program is being sent to all the customers in the city that participate in that. There has been some concern with the provider of that energy filing a bankruptcy proceeding, and what does it mean to our customers. The bankruptcy court has worked these details out. There will be no interruptions to our electric service. There will be no changes to the program rates, the terms, the conditions. There is no action required by community leaders or your residents. This change is the same as a bank selling a mortgage and you're making a new payment to somebody else. So just in case you get calls, I wanted you to be aware of that. In regards to the natural gas program, the City of North Canton participates with the Stark Council of Governments concerning city buildings and their natural gas usage. It's been recommended by our supplier by our consultant, I should say by SCOG's consultant for the City of North Canton to switch to a different provider. We're in the process of reviewing those agreements and moving forward with that. We will save approximately $13,000 a year going forward by making that switch. So I thought that was very good news. I wanted to share. There was a article in the newspaper, I believe over the weekend, that talked about accidents that may have been occurring near the Orchard Hill school and concern with child safety. I responded to the councilman directly that brought this to my attention, but I thought that it warranted bringing it to the attention of all members of council and the public that the basis of the article asserted that a school zone surrounding Orchard Hill was approximately a 2-mile radius. A 2-mile radius encompasses about 90% of the city. We are 6 square miles, we're 3 miles across, and I think it would be very difficult for us to comprehend that traffic up on Apple Grove and Main would constitute the school zone for around Orchard Hill. So the chief of police was very gracious to give us some time on his busy Monday to look into the accident reports, and going back to 2014, we could find no relevant crashes in what would be considered a school zone around Orchard Hill. The chief also wanted us to be aware that the areas around all of our school buildings are heavily patrolled during the arrival and dismissal times each day, and that Orchard Hill is probably the calmest site of all of our schools. So I wanted to make sure that was out there for the record. Finally, since the break, we have been busy putting together a request for qualification process for our safety service building. I've spoken to many of you about that, but just to make sure that you're all aware that we put together an RFQ. It's been widely, I'll say, acclaimed by those that have been coming in and talking to us about this project as one of the best RFQs they've ever written. We've done that internally through the Director of Finance, Director of Law, the two chiefs, myself, put that together. The purpose of this is to invite national and local firms to tell us why they would be a good choice to design this building. And we're going to put them through a series of steps that will help identify if they really are qualified, and then we will go through a process of identifying them. We are asking that their submissions, and their submissions are, hey, what have you done that's really good? Show us, and answer all these questions and give us this pertinent financial data. And give that to us by September 17th. And then we'll assimilate that information and put it out here for the public, put up displays if necessary, and let everybody know who's really interested from around the country in doing this project. And we have a number from around the country that have already been through. So just wanted to give you that information. Thank you. That's all.
All right, thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, we had two new appointments to the community, well, actually three new appointments to the Community Improvement Corporation. So we held our annual meeting just before this meeting, and the Community Improvement Corporation is a separate corporation which helps us to provide tax incentives or funding or assistance to new businesses looking to come to the city of North Canton. And I think we have about 900,000, 800,000 or 900,000 in the account? 980. 980. So close to $1 million, which is good. And I think we originally appropriated $1.5 million, and that began back in 2005. So it was $100,000 a year for 15 years. So all the projects that we've had so far have been very, very successful. And all of the amounts that have been expended have been repaid, more than repaid, with the income tax that was brought in, like Myers Control Power, also the developmental disabilities, and a few other projects. The two new appointments on the administration's end is Jane Nicholson from State Farm Insurance. She's been in North Canton for years, very successful as far as her insurance company business. And then we had Tim McCourt, and Tim was responsible for training all of the electricians in the area for all the various electrical companies. So he would go and recruit young people from high school, and he would train them to become apprentice electricians. And it was a nonprofit organization, but he brings a lot of experience, so he's going to be serving as the second appointee for the administration. And then on Council, the Council appointed John Zepp of the famous Zepp's Pizza, great pizza here in North Canton. Grew up in North Canton and raising his family here and has his business here. So that organization is going to be set for this year. And then we also appointed a new police officer. Normally we like to appoint the new police officers right here at the council meeting, but I know the chief and the police department, they were really eager to get this young man started. And so we had sworn in Jacob Tate, and Jacob served in the U.S. military, and then also most recently served as the deputy for the Stark County Sheriff. So he came highly recommended. He's really a fine young man. He's really a class act, has a lot of experience, was highly rated at the Sheriff's Department. So he joined our police department, was it 2 weeks ago, right? Started today. So we swore him in earlier, and today's his first day. So if you get a chance to see Jacob Tate, we had a picture of him put up on Facebook, quality young man. And then our paving program, this really is the best start that the city's ever had that I can recall. And so great job, Patrick, and our engineer for getting the bids out. And that's all I have.
It's an excellent segue. Engineer Graham?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. President. We've been kind of busy the last few weeks, as you can imagine, down at engineering. We've wrapped up about 7 or 8 projects just since the last council meeting. More on the go. You probably noticed South Main repaving has started. That you've seen the intermediate courses down and temporary striping. What they're doing now is the curb repairs and catch basin repairs. We've got like 20 catch basins. We're rebuilding the top few inches of 6 inches or so. The salt is really eating them away, so get that done. And grants are paying for all that as well. Yeah, and then what's left to come is the 3/4 inch polymer coat that we've talked about, that better asphalt. A lot of folks, the intermediate looks pretty good, but they call our office wondering, is that the final? Like, no, it's not. And then also what you'll see is that polymer has to cure for about 30 days before they put the final thermoplastic striping down. So the contractor will temporarily paint it kind of like it is now, and it looks pretty horrible, but that's not our final. I mean, it'll look good. That horrible stuff will wear off. I just wanted to mention that. A couple more things starting probably the week of September 10th, and we'll get it out on Facebook, higher profiles projects. The first one will be that northern loop of the walking path in Price Park. We bid that out in March, but we finally got the big storm sewer culvert along the east property line done, and we're going to start around September 10th with our contractor. It's going to take out that entire trail and put it back instead of 6 feet wide, 9 feet wide. So that's going to really look good. But like I said, we'll get it out there because obviously that's a heavily used park, that north loop. So we will have to close that for probably a couple weeks. And then next would be our West Maple Street project right behind us here. Looking to get started on that again that week of September 10th. Probably looking about a good month of inconvenience with detours around Ream and Charlotte back to Maine. But we'll get through that one. At least all the other major things out on our streets would be done by that time. And then lastly, we had Board of Control here at 6:30, and we awarded the Eastbury Water Line project. And we've got quite a bit of curb and gutter, catch basins to rebuild, some sidewalk, drive aprons, and mostly it's a water line now. And then what we're going to do is repave all that in the spring. And we got really good prices on that. We had 8 bidders. We estimated about $700,000, which I thought was kind of iffy. And the bids range from $553, I think, to we had 3 over $900,000. So we did award that job. The folks out on Eastbury will see that start in November.
Great.
Very good, good job.
Any questions? That completes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Deputy Director Farida, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to start giving an update on the construction office reorganization project we have going on here at City Hall. Contractors are working hard and they are on schedule to complete our restroom rehab and our new office configuration the week of September 17th. So the areas affected in this, the departments in the move will be the council and law area as well as the building and permits department. The sequence of the office moves will begin with over here on the south side with the council, clerk and law director offices being relocated to the north side of the building adjacent to the administration area. After the council and the law office are vacated over there, we will then begin the move from the building and permits department, and that will begin on September 29th. And that move is being done with the building and permits department is really to provide a better end user experience and bring them up here, a little more consolidation, a little more support. You may have noticed out there in the gold ring where the outline is, that's where the permit clerks, the 2 clerks out front will be. They'll have additional support with other clerks out here in this area. Just to note for council, your area will not be affected over there should you need to go into executive session. The building permits department that will be in that area will not be there in the evening, so the table will still be there should you need to go meet in there. In that area, that will comprise of the chief building officer, the 2 inspectors, and the nuisance officer. All the technical work for the moves is complete, all the ports and drops are installed. The new VoIP phone system, voice over internet protocol phones we went to, allows the seamless relocation. The phone follows the user, so there's no reconfiguration. It'll keep their extensions, and everything will move seamlessly with that. We have a communication strategy on the building department move, so it's going to be very inclusive of hopefully good media coverage. With, we'll do a press release out there. We'll also do our social media coverage, Facebook, website, and then as well as the building department itself will relocate an engineering clerk out to the front area. So should anyone stop by West Maple, they'll be guided up here, just as we currently still have people that still come here, and we guide them down there. So that's that project. Also another construction project, just to note, it's important, that affects the City Hall parking lot. It will begin on September 4th, and that will be Brian Hill, Superintendent of Parks and Rec and Water Distribution. We'll be putting in a new water line in City Hall, and that is going to be a lateral line just in. The old line had numerous breaks and was small. The new line's going to be large enough to support fire suppression system to this building, should we ever need that in the future. And all the city employees will be doing the work. It'll start the 4th, should last about 3 days. Should be done before any of the West Maple construction starts. So timing that well, and just to note that, little inconvenience for a couple of days with all that going in. And that's all I have.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Madam Clerk?
Thank you.
No report.
All right. Final call for new business to council.
Yes, sir. If I may, I just wanted to make a point here. Perhaps I get caught up in the no report as it went by, but I wanted to point out that during the recognition of visitors, we had someone that was so eager to criticize our clerk for making a mistake. And I was thinking about, when you put it all in perspective to what the burden that we placed upon the clerk, that she performs for us for each meeting, verbatim minutes for every council, for every committee meeting. She tracks legislation from the request, from going through council, scheduling public meetings, making sure that they're advertised properly, placing them on the internet, memorializing every aspect of what we do here in the legislative process, to state that one mistake was found, that he gleefully ran around waving. That when you put that in perspective of the volume that we place upon her and the accuracy that we ask for this, that when you put that all in perspective, she's done an outstanding job. So to sit here and criticize the one mistake, I think is beneath even him. So I just wanted to place that on the record. Someone maybe read it a year from now when it's memorialized. But I think it's a cheap shot, and I didn't want it to go without a comment.
Very good. Thank you, Tim. You are out of order, Mr. Osborne. You're out of order, Mr. Osborne. One more time and you're out. Okay, next up, the September meeting schedule. I had a quick conversation with Director DiOrio before the meeting. There's one item on the agenda that he needs to get passed, and then a few others that he would like to keep moving along. So I guess I'm asking you guys, next week, Labor Day week, we won't be here Monday. Who's available Tuesday evening? You're not?
Not
Is there
Tuesday.
anyone available on, can we get 6 on Wednesday?
I can do Wednesday.
Can't do Wednesday because of planning commission.
Yeah, planning.
Depending on the time.
Planning's at 7? We can meet a little earlier than that, 'cause, yeah. We can blow through, okay.
I can do Tuesday, but not Wednesday.
You can't do Wednesday. Steph?
There's
at
Tuesday at
6.
6 o'clock.
I can't do Thursday.
Thursday's clear.
We're still on Wednesday at 6.
Oh, actually, no, I'm out.
I'm good
For
Wednesday.
Yeah.
You're talking about next Wednesday, which is what day, September?
Yeah.
I can do Tuesday. I can do Tuesday at 6.
I'm Tuesday or Wednesday.
Everyone's in good for Tuesday except Daryl?
I can't do Tuesday. I can do Wednesday, but not Tuesday.
Can we do Tuesday at 6?
Does it need to be on emergency?
Yes. Solid Waste District.
I can do Tuesday or Wednesday.
You don't have enough for emergency here on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Doesn't look like it.
Well, Wednesday,
If it's just one piece, it's
Some morning?
5:30 Wednesday, I can do it.
well, I think Tom said Wednesday, Marcia's Wednesday,
I can do Wednesday if it's early.
Daryl's Wednesday, Mark's Wednesday, Doug's Wednesday,
On Wednesday.
your Wednesday, so we'd have six.
We're gonna pass this on committee coming up.
This committee coming up.
We gotta have public speaks.
This,
No, we will. It'll be-
this committee, and there'll be public speaks. This is, the one piece of legislation is renewing the solid waste district's 10-year plan.
Understand.
So do we or don't we have 6 for Wednesday?
Wednesday, it starts.
Just see a show of hands. Yes for Wednesday.
It starts at 6.
6 o'clock Wednesday?
That's 6.
Okay.
Doug makes a good point, though. We gotta have public speaks with it, right?
We will.
Okay.
Yes. Yep, we will. Okay, so we will set next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. It'll be a special council meeting with public speaks portion at the beginning,
That's September 12th.
September 5th.
5th, excuse me.
Yeah.
And it's item 4 on tonight's committee meeting.
Yeah, and there's a few other on finance and property we're going to move along as well. So then we will follow that up with Monday, September 10th, council meeting, September 17th, committee of the whole, and then the 24th, the regular council. Okay, and that concludes this agenda. Committee meeting coming up, so stick around for the excitement. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes carry.
We are adjourned. I'd like to call to order special committee of the whole meeting, Monday, August 27th, 2018, 7:33 p.m. Clerk, please call the roll.
Soretta,
Here?
Foltz.
Here.
Fontaine.
Here.
Kiesling.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Revolt.
Here.
And Waring. Here. 7 present, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. First up, ordinance, rules, and claims. Chairman Revolt.
Thank you, sir. We have 2 items for consideration this evening. The first,
Jeff, I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, Pat, did I miss something?
yeah, I think we
Oh,
have.
yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
I'm so sorry.
Mr. Revolt, but
Steve, I apologize. First up, before we get into committee business, Stephen Wilder, Chairman of the North Canton Community Energy Savings Committee. He's going to give us an update regarding our Energy Savers Program. Mr. Wilder, my apologies.
It's all right. It wasn't in bold print. It's okay.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak before council. Mayor Held, Jeff Peters, President, and Patrick DiRollo, our City Administrator, or Director of Administration. 2 items tonight. First, I'd like to take the opportunity on behalf of President Doug Lane of the North Canton Area Chamber of Commerce, wants to thank all the volunteers, especially the cooperation from the city who helped in preparation, during, and after the completion of the Main Street Festival. The Main Street Festival remains a family-oriented annual end of the summer event for us that brings many diverse parts of our city together for a fun, enjoyable, and learning experience. It's become a real cornerstone to our community in forming positive relationships. Doug is out of town at the moment, so he asked me just to take a moment to express his thanks again to the city. And I have to admit, the young crew that we had out there cleaning up, that's the cleanest I've ever seen our streets throughout that whole Main Street Festival time. Now I'd like to go to the report for the North Canton City Council on our North Canton Energy Savers Program. Just give you a quick background, if I may. May 15th, 2018, we had a very soft start. On June 1st, we had our official start of this program with a termination date determined for September 30th of this year. Our marketing events in June involved the Rotary, making presentations to the Rotary Club of North Canton, Kiwanis Club of Belden Village, that encompasses Plain, Jackson Township, and North Canton. Our North Canton Public Library music and food fund truck was out there every month for a fun event. North Canton Family Film Night, we were there with materials to distribute to participants about our program. And of course, at the North Canton JC Fair, they allowed us an evening to make a presentation also with a booth there. And the North Canton Area Chamber of Commerce, we even had some stuffers there for the golf outing. And in July, I want to thank the city for providing in the utility bills a brochure about our North Canton Energy Savings Program, which I believe went out to over, 5,000 households, maybe a few more than that. For the North Canton annual YMCA 5 and 2 mile run, and talking with the director over there, we were able to stuff over 2,300 bags, goodie bags or swag bags that all the participants got, with information again about our energy savings program, plus the directions on how to actually go on and do an online survey. And we can't forget our good partner at the North Canton Public Library, with their, again, a music event, their medieval fair, and their family fun nights, always promoting our program. We had a great response at the 720 Market, which was right over here. Fantastic location. We gave out over 200 reusable bags supplied by AEP Ohio. They gave us 1,000 reusable bags as you would use for grocery shopping or something like that. At that event, I gave out 200 bags with information about our program, along with the chamber information. And we even attended the Positive Ohio event right over in Whitwer Park, where we distributed another 200 reusable bags with information about our program. In August, we had, again, we participated in the North Canton Public Library music event and the food truck. The North Canton Area Chamber of Commerce, the Main Street Festival, they were there for 2 days, and we distributed over 300 bags of information and with some one-on-one conversation with our residents. Some have received their energy saving kit in the mail already for completing the online program, but we also gave out those reusable bags. And that same weekend, the North Canton Public Library did the same for their book sale event. They distributed another 300 bags. They're all gone. We went through 1,000 of them with information promoting our program, again, for the city. And in September, I'll be speaking at the North Canton Lions Club on Tuesday on 9/11. I'd like to just bring you up to date on our team efforts. Our participation points by program. As of June, the data poll, we're at 639 credits. As you can see by the banner over here, our goal was to reach 400 credits, which would qualify us for a sustainability roadmap. But also, we have qualified for a $30,000 grant from AEP Ohio to be used by the city of North Canton, hopefully as we determine through to the improvements of the Dogwood Park recreation area that's in plans for the next year or two. I'm very excited about that. However, I'm not going to stop there. We're at 160% of our goal, and this is a community-oriented program. So if we can bring this program to more of our residents and businesses, I'm going to double this. And I've put the carrot out there to AEP Ohio. It's not in stone or anything, but if there's any incentive for us accomplishing our goal in less than a month or a month and a half, it would speak well for our efforts of our team. The breakdown is this. We've had 331 online energy profiles completed. We've had 267 points from a multifamily. That would be such as an apartment complex where we get 3 points for each apartment times, let's say, 88 apartments. That's a good chunk of our goal. We had 31 points through appliance recycling. And we had one business that converted to LED lighting, and we get 10 points for that. It's called a prescriptive program. Totals out to 639 points. Our goal, again, was only 400, but we're at 160%, which is great. We've qualified for a sustainability roadmap. The city has the opportunity to develop a framework for the city's ongoing commitment to energy efficiency and sustainability. That's something that we might want to think about with members of our council or our city who might want to be a part of that program over the next 3 to 5 years. We've also, again, I want to bring this to your attention, it's a community-oriented program in helping our AEP Ohio customers use energy more efficiently by delivering cost-effective programs that provide value to all our stakeholders. If you have not already done so, please complete the online survey profile. If not, it only benefits, again, the North Canton Energy Savers Program. And it allows you to evaluate how much energy your home uses compared to a single-family home in your area that have similar features, such as, again, number of rooms, number of occupants, and square footage. And of course, at the very bottom, there's always a little checkbox to make sure you check that so you get your energy saving kit in the mail. And I think some of you have received yours already. I know I have. And we've been very lucky with our information through our online, with our webpage, indicating that the library has carried it on their webpage, and of course the North Canton Area Chamber of Commerce. In summary, I just want to thank to all of our residents, homeowners, and businesses who have chosen to support this community program, this community-oriented energy savings program. And I want to publicly thank our volunteers to this point. Joining me tonight is Carrie Burrick from the North Canton Public Library, and her team of Christina Wyrick, Nancy Myers, and Jamie Makris. They're all from the green team at the library that's on our group. And from the city, Justine Avery, who's no longer here and was replaced by Kathy Farina. Thank you very much for you keeping the information up. Patrick DiOrio, of course, and Mayor Hill, thank you for, again, your endorsement of this program. Doug Lane, our president of our area council, area chamber of commerce. And we do have a team from Ohio, and that's Mike Lascola, Gina Duplain, Damian McGee, and Sue Marzano. There are contacts that help reach to our businesses and to our homes and have answered many questions for our residents when it comes to AEP Ohio questions about their bills and things. And we're very fortunate to be teamed with a marketing team. This is how far our outreach goes, with a team from APTIM in Chicago. And my two partners there are Courtney Weber and Jennifer Mendoza. And they help provide a lot of the materials for us at no charge. So, folks, that is my report. I just want to bring to your attention, we had a nice article in the Our Time. It was on, let's see, page 10, I think, where our program was talked about, if you haven't seen that. And one of our first marketing tools, too, that was very successful for us was on the side street put out by the 720 Market. If you look on the very last page, it gave detailed instructions about our home energy program. So, with that being said, I'll entertain any questions if you like. If not, I just want to bring that to your attention. Folks, we're not done. I want to double this, and I think we can do it. And again, this data poll is strictly through June. So we haven't had the results given to us for July yet. And the reason for that is there's a vetting system that the AEP does to make sure that households aren't registering twice, okay? It's only one per household, and making sure those that do register are within our tax code or our city limits. So that data poll is slow, and we've expressed our frustration with that, but it's something that they didn't experience when a community met their goal in a month. So we kind of blew it out of the water at the very beginning, and we're very excited about that, and they are too. So I hope it's a happy dilemma for them. And we'll see what the results are come July and August. And like I say, this thing runs through September 30th, and that's what I have to share with you tonight.
Well, thank you, Stephen. We appreciate your service and your leadership on this program, and for setting the bar so high. This is a very worthy program, and the little gift pack that you get for filling out the online survey is outstanding. I mean, I was very impressed by what they gave out. So, thank you.
Mr. Fonte,
thank you so
did
much.
you have a question?
I was just going to ask you, I know you said it was 30,000 goal, and it's not in stone if we would get additional dollars, but let's say we doubled it, would we get 60,000?
No.
40,000?
Nice try, though.
No.
50,000?
Well, I can't say that for sure, okay? Our agreement was for $30,000, so that was our goal. But at the 700 point was a $50,000 goal. And our philosophy on that was, let's nail what we can get for sure. This is our first venture into a program like this, and I didn't want to come to September the 15th and be sweating out, you know, that we have 650 points, because it's all or nothing on the agreement. You have to reach your goal to receive the financial end of it. If you reach halfway, then you get the sustainability roadmap. So I've thrown that question out to them, and Mr. Lascola's researching it with his organization. But so we'll just cross our fingers and be pleasantly surprised if we are awarded a few extra dollars towards our program. So
Thanks, Steve.
thank you very much for your time.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, good news. Okay, now we will move into our agenda, ordinance, rules, and claims. Chairman Revolt.
Thank you. We have two items for our consideration this evening. The first, as has already been brought to our attention, we have 6 items to authorize the amended into our codified ordinances. I don't believe that there are any questions regarding those. Pretty routine. Any questions or comments from anybody? Okay, then we'll have legislation prepared for that. The second is the follow-up to our main recommendation to the Planning Commission regarding 2 adjustments to our sign ordinance. The first was the inclusion of the move from institutions to business under the sign regs. The Planning Commission considered that, approved it without amendment. The second was an effort to bring our non-conforming freestanding signs into some closer compliance to what we have now. We haven't had, as we all know, great enthusiasm for putting up new freestanding signs. So the Planning Commission considered it, and you will have in your packets the single amendment that the Planning Commission sent back to us to 1151.16. They included the term freestanding in an item, alteration or removal of non-conforming signs. So that was its recommendation. Are there any questions or comments regarding that recommendation of the Planning Commission?
As you and I discussed today, we would want to perhaps this evening schedule a public meeting and give 30 days advance. So we try to, if we could, schedule it on what we believe would be our 3rd reading. That way the public would have the opportunity to have those 3 council meetings to hear any concerns, input, so forth. And a reminder, since it's in planning and zoning, we wouldn't be able to pass on emergency. That's why we'd have to do it on that 3rd reading.
The first opportunity for a third reading would be less than 30 days, so maybe we could push it back on the legislative agenda, maybe have the first reading on it.
I would just make this, while it's non-controversial, let's just make it as clean and neat as we can. Okay. I think that the fact of the matter is that the church will be content once we pass the 3rd and final reading with the knowledge that the mayor is going to sign it, and so we'll be fine.
Mary Beth, you want to make a note of that? We probably won't put that on the next legislative agenda, the special, but the following one.
And for both of those items, the language references attachments. Would you please make sure that the attachments are included in the agendas so we've got them for review? And that is not only for the signs, but for the codified ordinances, please.
Okay.
That concludes it.
Thank you, Darrell.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, personnel safety. We have a legislative request to reclassify a position to client coordinator. Pat has been hard at work reconfiguring and streamlining that department over there. Or I'm sorry, Laura. My apologies.
No problem.
Laura, would you like to expound on this?
Sure. Last year, we changed the staff in the utility billing department from fiscal clerical specialist to a client coordinator position as part of a reorganization. And this is just to make the part-time position in the ordinance match our full-time. We're doing this now because, as we mentioned earlier, upgrading our utility billing software as well as moving forward with automated meter reading. There'll be a lot of training and implementation for those ladies, so they might need some additional help in the coming days.
Outstanding. Any questions from council regarding this? All right, my apologies. Pat's got so many things going on over there too. Okay, very good. All right, so we'll put that on the next council meeting with an emergency clause attached to it. All right, next up, street and alley. Chairman Fonte.
Okay, we have two pieces of legislation, A and B. A would be basically on an emergency because we're trying to get a grant, Ohio Public Works Commission grant to do Apple Grove Street to Marquardt. And what we're hoping to do, it was a joint venture between the county and Ohio Public Works, and so Rob's trying to get everything done, written, and turned in by September 14th. And that would cover probably 75%. It's probably going to be about $800,000 project. And we're hoping for that. So I move that we get that on the agenda. And then also the second piece would be B. This is talking about East Hill, same concept. What we're trying to do is, this would be, I don't know if you notice, there's a lot of divots off to the side. It's not curb and gutter. So what we want to do is from that point, we would be going, it's probably another $800,000 project. We want to do total curb gutter, storm sewer, you know, that kind of a project. From Westview heading east. It's like Westview at Eastwoods, you know where that is, heading all the way to Fraser. And so that would be about a 75% pay if we get the whole grant. And that would be us dealing with that with Ohio Public Works, I believe. Is that correct, Rob? So I move that we get both of those on the agenda. And if there's any specific questions, or both be an emergency, because we have a tight deadline to get it done by September 14th to submit it.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, are you stipulating that you would like this on the September 5th agenda?
Yes, the very next agenda we can get it on, the very first agenda, because it has to be approved and submitted by the 14th. So would that be a special meeting or?
Special council meeting on September 5th.
Yeah, so we need it ASAP so we can get it on there. Because again, these will cover close to 75–80% of the cost from the grant. So Rob, thanks for the extra work on that. And if you have any specific questions, I'm sure he could give you more particulars.
Follow, do we have a price tag on that?
Yeah, I was looking at for the joint paving of Apple Grove. Again, we're looking at North Main and Marquardt. About 75% of that's inside the city. The other 25% is in the county. So we really want to collaborate with the county engineer's office. Strengthens our grant application. We've got that one at $570,000. The county and I.
That's the total project cost, $570. Okay. Total project cost of $570.
Yep.
The Apple Grove one would be around 800.
Yeah, the East Hill, we're looking at about 800. We're still waiting for our preliminary plans to submit, but doing some math today. I think it's $800 area, or $800,000 area.
Would that be 75 or 80% coverage?
We would probably submit the first year and ask for the 76% grant, 24% local. So that's 75-25 roughly. See how it scores. If it doesn't do very well, we'll go back to 50-50 for the following year.
Go for the gold. Awesome. That's good. The roads are looking really good.
Okay. All set? All right, next up, water, sewer, and rubbish. And just a quick note, Chairman Serrata, the mayor's going to recuse himself and be here.
He needs to do it.
Yeah, give him an opportunity to get out before you get
You
there.
normally do.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Don't let him go home.
You can
You
stick
can wait
around for
till
A
B.
if you want.
First one on here, though, is the water extension along Pittsburgh Avenue to the new Condac dock. This is outside the city, it's not contiguous. We have a water line up there. It is outside water rates, and it is no cost to the city, I am told, right? No cost at all to us. Okay. Any questions on that? We have a line up there, right by the airport, coming down Mount Pleasant, I believe, up there.
Did I read it was 1,500 linear feet?
Yeah, there's an existing line east-west on Mount Pleasant, and the developer of the ComDock and Turtle Bay sites are looking to extend that south to the ComDock South property line at their cost. And that's one where the water board in the past each approved, the two services were approved. Now by our ordinance, the private extensions have to be approved by council.
Questions?
I think I saw somewhere it was 1,500 feet of pipe.
I can look, that sounds about right.
So,
1,500 approximately,
Yeah, 1,500 linear feet.
There we go.
All right. You look like you're about to say something.
Only with the permission of the council president.
Yes, sir.
I think what's important to note about this, while it is probably internally, at least with one member of this body, somewhat controversial, and I hope we will revisit this process. I think what's important to note that this is largely the first big economic development project in Stark County in the last 36 months. This is not insignificant. Many times the city gets a rap, if you will, that we're a little insular and we're not concerned about economic development beyond our boundaries. But the reality is this is one, frankly, that we can't unspool, at least in my opinion, and should go forward. This, again, this is a significant capital investment with significant jobs. I truly wish we were going to capture it. We can't, but we'll salute the flag on this one. And it's important to this county that this project go forward and be executed.
Yep, I agree.
So I think if people are wondering why we're doing this without a lot of controversy, the reason is really clear here. This is a major capital investment with major jobs that this county sorely needs, and we should support.
Don't we get outside water rates for it too?
Yeah, but it's small by contrast to potential income tax revenue.
Okay, we're good.
We're good. We're done.
All right. Next thing in line is this solid waste management plan. Now, I've read this plan, but it doesn't tell me what's the difference between this plan and the other plan. Anything on this that I can, the information, this is what we're going to meet next Wednesday, I'm assuming, because it's on emergency. But in looking at this and reading the plan, they need it approved by different
September 14th.
Right, September 14th by different communities, and if we don't do anything at all, it'll go to the state and they'll do it. But
Correct.
I'm looking at this, though, and reading the plan looks like a solid waste plan, but I don't see a difference between this plan and last plan, so how can I ratify it if I don't know the difference? So that was my take on it. Anybody can key me in on it.
I think the plan was just expiring. It
So it's
ran
the
for a
same plan
period
then,
of time
it just
and then it
expired?
expires.
Okay.
And then we have to renew.
Because it all looks good, but I didn't know if there was anything different for us. There's no difference in cost or no difference in anything for us then.
Correct.
It's just that we can say your plan looks cool, we're fine, good to ratify, right?
I see it's on an emergency.
And it's on emergency because of the date
Right.
on which it is needed, and so, okay.
And
All right.
we should reflect that we received this while you were on break.
Right, I would assume that, right?
And you're right, I don't see renewal in there in the title either. So.
That's what I was
Yeah, I got
trying
you.
to
I see
get
what
by. I never saw anything that said renewal or anything, and I thought, well, here's a nice plan. It all looks pretty neat.
Well,
So,
I can have and get out to all the members the answer to that question. What's different? How is this going to impact us differently, or indeed is this simply the renewal?
We could.
And the agreement of the majority of those in Stark, Tusk, Wayne Solid Waste District. If we can't come to an agreement, Ohio EPA comes in and they set their own rules.
Right.
So since the original plan was part and parcel of the community agreement, they want to make that available to us and know that if you want to keep it in that form, then we have to have approved legislation by that date. a certain percentage of the communities in Stark, Tuscan, Wayne have to provide legislation. County commissioners can authorize the new plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we want to go forward with this? I mean, it's just,
Well, this is.
it's just the same plan, it looks like that.
Believe so.
Okay, but there's no extra cost to us, or,
Right.
I mean, whether we like it or not, it's gonna go ahead.
And I'll see that council has confirmation on
Okay.
that. And the reason is the very perfect person that could explain it to
Yeah,
us
he's out of the room.
is the director of the Joint Solid Waste District, but because there could be a conflict of interest, he's
Right.
recused himself, so we, that's part of Ethics Commission and so forth. We wouldn't want to subject him to any undue influence in that, but it certainly is the perfect conduit to be able to transfer that information through me and our administrator to the council.
Okay. So do we want to put this on for next Wednesday, and knowing that we're gonna get clarification on this, though, that there is no cost to us?
Right, we'll have, yeah,
Additional cost to us.
yeah, we'll have correspondence before
And
that.
if we can't get that, then we will cancel that meeting, cancel that on there. Okay?
Correct.
It needs to be ratified by the
Good for
14th.
everybody?
Yeah,
so I would-
if we can't get it that night, then
Okay.
we
I would
won't.
imagine they're gonna have the.
And it might still go through without us, but
Yeah.
it's better to have it,
Okay.
the local control.
Yeah, I just think, looking at this, this plan began September 16th of 2016. If you read through,
Planning period begin.
yeah, so this has been a long process with public input, other than us, that precedes us making a council managed ordinance.
But, I mean, my thought is, it doesn't say renewal, and it doesn't say,
Right,
tell
I
me what
agree,
the changes
I agree
are.
with you, but I find comfort in this,
Yeah.
that knowing that there was public comment, public hearing, and you're right, we need to have a little bit more information.
Okay.
But just to say, this just didn't happen starting
Right.
in May, and now here it is at the table for us to make a decision on.
Yeah,
So-
I had pulled up the document, and if I recall, I think it's roughly, is it correct, something like 900 pages? Something like, it's quite,
I surely didn't read
it's
those.
quite a tome, it's something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I was just curious, the only thing I was wondering is, you can't renegotiate the rates, and can we get more recycling dollars? So that's what I want to know, did they give us any more recycling dollars for some tonnage? So, I didn't know, it's like you get stuck with what you get, or is it competitive? So that would be the only thing I'd want to know, is do we get more dollars, can we negotiate the rate, and get more recycling bucks?
Okay.
Some questions you sent over?
We'll put that on.
And smaller trash cans.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm good.
all right. All right, very good. Next up, Mayor's out here, Tim. If he wants to come back in, he can come back in. It looks like he wants to. All right, next up, Finance and Property. Chairwoman Ware.
Okay. We have 3 parts on this tonight. These are just really standard things that we have done every year. So part A is just when vehicles become obsolete and we don't need them any longer. We're just authorizing the mayor to do a professional auction for those. So that is part A. Part B is pretty much the same thing, except that we're then simultaneously purchasing vehicles that we can use. So again, getting rid of the old with different vehicles. Any questions on those two? Those are 2 kind of together. Yes?
I was going to ask if the chair would consider an amendment to the one that talks about the sale of vehicles that are obsolete to include obsolete equipment in addition to vehicles. Oftentimes we have equipment
Right.
that we could go through an auction process, be it online or
Okay.
regular, rather than wait a year or 2 for enough equipment to accumulate, that then by that time it isn't worth anything.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're doing with the
Because
vehicles.
haven't we, I feel like we've done that before, where we've also gotten rid of equipment in a similar ordinance,
I think we got rid of
right?
Well-
bicycles and stuff like that.
Yes,
So
but
you just want to add that to A and, just A, right?
Yeah, I think that's the one that it most.
Yeah, because
B.
talked
Because B, we're trading them in.
B is for trading, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that would be vehicles and equipment. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, are we doing the vehicles different than what we used to do in the past?
Well, what we would like to do is engage in Kiko, who usually handles our stuff, to be able to do it in a, provided they meet public notice requirements, but then do it in an online auction. Rather than physically present auction that we wait until we get enough equipment and you sell a vehicle that's been sitting there for 2 years and now it doesn't run, and you get $20 for it, whereas if we sold it when it was working and running and everything was fine, we could get a lot more money for it, and we think it would benefit the city financially.
Okay. So we can move those to the agenda next time. And then part C was, we're just kind of moving some different monies around from the appropriation funds to the insurance fund, to the medical insurance claims and prescription claims accounts. We just have had some extra expenses in that area this year that we needed to move some monies. And Laura, do you want to say anything else about that? I know you had said the past few years we didn't really have to do much of that, and this year we just had some extra expenses.
We've been really fortunate the past several years with our health insurance claims, but this year, unfortunately, we had a severe illness early in the year with one of our employees, and then had several smaller things that have caused claims to go up, so we need to appropriate a little more money in that area.
And that's it.
Okay. That concludes the agenda. Just a quick reminder, we addressed it in the previous meeting. Next Tuesday, September 5th, we have a special council meeting. Wednesday. I'm off my game right now. Wednesday, September 5th, 6 p.m., special council meeting.
Mr. President?
All right.
Do you want to do a vote?
Yes, but also can we just go through what we're putting on next Wednesday's agenda?
That's great. Before I do that, let's do a I didn't do the roll call vote. I need to do a roll call vote for special council meeting with public speaks next Wednesday, September 5th, 6 p.m., council chambers. Is that correct?
Did you do that at the previous meeting?
We didn't.
Did not,
I just realized we didn't do that.
I will move that we have our special council meeting on Wednesday, September 5th at 6 p.m.
It's an excellent motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Surratt,
Yes.
Folds?
Yes.
Fontaine?
Yes.
Kiesling?
Yes.
Peters?
Yes.
Revolt?
Yes.
And Waring.
Yes.
7 yes to hold a special council meeting Wednesday, September 5th at 6 p.m.
Okay, let's go down the list of what we're going to put on this special council meeting. Personnel and safety, we're doing the client coordinator.
Street and alley.
Daryl, you, 1A, ordinance rules claims,
Both of those are going to need a
Both of them?
public hearing for those.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Need a
Chairman.
public hearing for both. Or excuse me, I'm
And-
sorry,
and-
not the codified ordinances.
Yeah, for-
We can do the codified ordinances.
Okay, so let's
Or
do
Wednesday, yes.
Just
On
1A.
emergency. 1A on emergency.
Yep.
Attachments included.
Attachments included, thank you. Personnel and safety, the only one on there, compensation. Street and alley, A and B.
Correct.
Water sewer rubbish,
A and B.
A and B. Finance and property,
Nothing was emergency.
I don't think it's an emergency, but, I mean, if you want to give it a first reading.
let's move it along.
Yeah,
We'll do the first
I'd
reading.
appreciate it.
So the only one we're not having is ordinance rules and claims, 1B, the signs. Everything else will be on there.
Okay.
Okay, we got the
Thank
roll
you.
call vote. We got agenda. Motion to adjourn?
All in favor,